Greetings, fellow YouTuber. My name is Tim. Greetings, fellow YouTuber. My name is Tim. Welcome to the greatest waste of time and bandwidth since Cop Rock. Yes, it is another version of GainerWorld Live. My name is Tim Gainer. Thank you so much for joining me again this week as we do this every single Friday night. Why? Because we can. And that's the last four letters of the word American. I can. Diddle-it-up-diddle. Anyway, great that you're here. Thank you very much for joining me, as always, this evening. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. But if you're new to this little thing that we do, if you're looking for hard-hitting entertainment, if you're looking for music and fun and laughs, no, you ain't going to find it here. Basically, what we do is what we do every single week around this time. We get together and we just kind of let our hair down, so to speak. We get into our little chat thing right here. You ain't got to worry about all that over there, okay? We bring the chat to you. We bring it right here to you for your hard-earned dollar. That's right. You don't have to strain your neck or nothing. That's the chat. We've got all kinds of people that come in here and we chat and we talk about stuff. And I got a guitar over here, and if there's time, maybe we'll let a song loose. Who knows? It's just an hour of just relaxing and just letting our hair down, as I said. Lots of people popping in this evening to say hi. Our occasional guest co-host, Chris King, has popped in to already tell me you can't go against my wind. It is the wind of milk and bean burritos. Alrighty then. TMI, Chris. Also, our pal Cyrus Gray, who is in, and he is just kind of hanging out in the Hugs bunker before he has to scurry over at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central to Hugs 24/7 Radio, HUGSATWRGG.com, where he will be doing double duty again tonight, presenting the Hugs Top 10 Countdown, as well as the Hugs Shockwave. The Hugs Top 10 Countdown, yes, they actually do have a Hugs Top 200 chart of the 200 best unsigned independent songs that are going on in the whole gosh darn world. And then the Shockwave going on immediately after that, all the new submissions to Hugs Radio. So be sure that you check him out for that. 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, Cyrus Gray, checking out the Hugs Top 10 Countdown at hugs@wrgg.com, HUGSATWRGG.com, Hugs 24/7 Radio, the home of the unsigned artist. Got other people popping in to say hi this evening. Amu City popped in to say, whoa, digging deep for the Cop Rock reference. Yeah. I wanted to see how many people actually remembered that one. Noreen Henry popped in to say hi. Hi, Noreen. Evening to all. So when do we get the $50 gift certificate? Yeah, as soon as you order the ceramic Dalmatian. There's an obscure reference for you. Yeah, he said duty. Yes, I did. And I'm here for the dead people. Okay, well, if that's the case, and boy, we do have a lot of them this week. It was not a good week, people. Pull out your Deadpool cards. Here we go. It is time for the Deadpool report. Let's get started. Not a good week in Deadpool lore this week. And I found out something last night that I need to look more into. I need to do more. I need to do more research on. Nowhere did the ad say that I had to buy the Gainer 3 LP music set. I think you should. I really think you should, which would be a good trick because I've only made 2. Let's start right at the beginning. And this one was probably the toughest of them all. Yeah. According to WFLA Tampa, Channel 8 on your side, NBC affiliate. We lost a musical legend, and it is the beginning of the end. It is the actual end. And I know I'm going to catch flack for this, and I'm going to clear that up in a minute. But according to WFLA in Tampa, Gary Rossington, songwriter, guitarist, and the last surviving original member of Lynyrd Skynyrd, passed away Sunday at the age of 71. This is according to the band's Facebook page. They put in, and this is a quote, "It is with deepest sympathy and sadness that we have to advise that we lost our brother, friend, family member, songwriter, and guitarist, Gary Rossington. Gary is now with the Skynyrd brothers and family in heaven, playing it pretty like he always does." No details about his death, but to clear this up, and I was in kind of a mixed conversation with someone about the fact that Gary Rossington was the last surviving original member of Lynyrd Skynyrd. And it was quickly pointed out to me, no, Artemis Pyle is still alive. And that's fine, and yes, he is. You know, God bless him. But he was not the original drummer. When this band formed in high school in the 60s, in the Jacksonville High School, Bob Burns was the original drummer, not Artemis Pyle. So it is true when they say that Gary Rossington was the last surviving member of Lynyrd Skynyrd. He met up in the 60s with Ronnie Van Zant and said Bob Burns, and they met while playing on opposing baseball teams in Jacksonville. And as all the way up to 2009, he was the last original member. And he became the last surviving original member in 2019. Of course, we all remember that terrible plane crash back in 1977 that killed Ronnie Van Zant, along with Steve Gaines, his sister Cassie, the road manager, Dean Kilpatrick, both pilots. And they broke up for 10 years. And Gary actually did something that I don't think I don't think that he even got enough credit for. If anybody remembers this album, and to me it was a terrific album. I'm talking about the Rossington Collins Band, where Gary Rossington and Alan Collins got together with a couple of other members, a couple of other sessions players, and put a band together in 1980. And they did the Anyhow, Anytime, Anywhere album, which was just fantastic as far as I'm concerned. The thing about Gary was that Skynyrd was scheduled to perform as early as Sunday, which was the final day of the Florida Strawberry Festival in Plant City. They were supposed to perform several shows alongside ZZ Top, which that tour kicks off in July in West Palm Beach. But now that Gary's gone, Is there even Leonard Skinner anymore? I don't think so. I think this is really finally the end of the band. After so much that this band has been through, after so many twists and turns, God, you want to talk about a cursed band. But the hits that they gave us, I know it sounds corny. Know it sounds funereal, but fly on, Freebird. Gary Rossington, the last original surviving member of Leonard Skinner, gone. Again, no details disclaimed, no details given, but yeah, they're all gone. The whole band is gone. And I was thinking about this last night, and we'll get back to the rest of this in a second. But yeah, this was a pretty good indication that our generation we're starting to see end of days as far as our greatness went. You know, think of all the people, and it's still happening. Meanwhile, let's go to the tote board as long as I'm on camera here. Haven't kept up with the deaths this week. I'm unprepared. Well, Lamu City, you're prepared now. Chris saying, "What's so great about him? They couldn't even spell Leonard right." Little piece of history too. People that don't know, what that meant to be Leonard Skinner. That Leonard Skinner was the name of a teacher that they all had in high school. And whenever he was sent to detention or kept after class or something like that, you got Skinnered. So thus the name Leonard Skinner, and they just changed the spelling just to make sure they didn't get in trouble. And Cyrus is saying, sorry, Artemis Powell was with them when the plane went down. It counts. Bob Burns was the original drummer when they formed. Granted, Artemis Pyle played drums on the first album. So where do you draw the line? The battle rages on. Meanwhile, continuing on with this week's Dead Report, we talked last week about the condition of Tom Sizemore. He had suffered a brain aneurysm on February 18th at his home in L.A., and well, unfortunately, last week he died in his sleep at a hospital in Burbank after being in a coma. That's according to his manager, Charles Lago. I was gonna say something. I was gonna say some stuff about him, but this story that I got from News Nation, they just slammed him for all the legal troubles that he was in. And granted, he was in a little bit of trouble. But at the same time, too, it's like, they took him apart. But let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about the fact that he was in Natural Born Killers. He was in Heat. In Black Hawk Down. He was in Pearl Harbor. He also did a couple of shows in 2002. Robbery Homicide Division. But, unfortunately, we lost Tom Sizemore at the same time. Very sad thing. Very sad follow-up to a guy who really did have an interesting career. He was in Twin Peaks for a little while. So... And then, going back to Leonard Skinner for just a second, Amu City saying, fun history fact, the plane that went down in 77 was originally scheduled for Aerosmith, but their flight crew rejected it because they felt the plane was not up to their standards. Yeah, well, Steven Tyler wasn't such a whiny little baby, then it would have been Steven Tyler, not Ronnie Van Zant. Big deal. We heard about this last night. keep your eyes on the sparrow. Because he ain't around no more. Robert Blake, according to TMZ, he died yesterday from heart disease at home, surrounded by his loved ones. We all know about Robert Blake. If you remember anything about Robert Blake, he had a great career on screen. He had a wild life off screen, and that's putting it mildly. Of course, we all know him from his roles in his Tony Beretta. Of course, we all know that. He was also in a great movie, Truman Capote's In Cold Blood. One of my all-time favorite movies. He was in other movies, too, in the 50s. Lost Highway, Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Of course, we go back to, his playing Tony Beretta in the 70s. Who Loves You, Baby? Remember that? Oh, no, wait a minute. That was Kojak. What was his... Oh, yeah, and you can take that to the bank. Yeah. But it was his off-screen antics. You might remember back in 2001 when he was charged with the murder of his second wife, Bonnie Lee Bakley. She was found dead outside Vitello's restaurant in L.A. in 2001. Allegedly, Tony went out to, or Robert, that is to say, went out to retrieve his gun, which he had left in the car, and wanted to bring it back into the restaurant. This is the actual story. This is from the court papers. And Bonnie was dead in the car. Go figure. She had, apparently, Bakley had been shot in the head. So, but he told investigators he'd gone back inside the restaurant to retrieve a pistol. I'm sorry, I got that story wrong. Blake told investigators, this is from TMZ, Blake told investigators that he'd gone back inside the restaurant to retrieve a pistol when Bakley was shot and killed. And it was later determined that his pistol was not the murder weapon. Although there were theories that went around that he'd hired hitmen to kill his wife. Yeah. So, yeah. Another one gone. Robert Blake, Tony Beretta. What are they going to do with that cockatiel now? Tony Beretta. Gone at the age of 80. So, yeah. It's been a tough week. It's been a tough week, but that is this week's Deadpool report. That'll wrap it up for me, kids. Checking the tote board here real fast. Because the people, I don't know what it is about the Deadpool, but people just have so much to say about it. Willie Gordon and Chris are still in the running, Cyrus says. He is definitely into the Deadpool that Willie Nelson, Gordon Lightfoot, and Chris Christopherson are all going to be next. I'm going to next week. I found a list, or that is to say I was shown a list. Pardon me. There is a Deadpool top 100. The top 100 people you should suspect are going to go next. No, I'm not making this up. I thought my card of old musicians was good. Oh, no, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm going to have that next week. Let me see what's going on here. That dude was creepy as hell in Lost Highway. Yeah, that is true. The Money Train. Yeah, great movie there. He did a great job there. Chris said, I thought that Take It to the Bank thing was Columbo. Beretta's thing was that doggone parrot. No, that was I'm going to get this guy, and you can take it to the bank. That was Tony Beretta. That much I do remember. That was his catchphrase. Columbo was just, just one more question. Just one more question. And Chris is like, who's next on the list? Well, yeah. I'm going to bring that in next week. We're going to bring that in next week. top 100. We're just going to get into the top 10 because the top 100, that just gets crazy. Somebody that should be dead. And a guy who recently said that that we're going to Cyrus wants to know, are we going to open a line in Vegas? I don't know. We should. We should start our little practice out there. Although I'm sure somebody's already beaten us to it. I mean, come on. It's Vegas. Here's a guy that should have been dead years ago. And I'm not being facetious when I say this. And he also just recently said that his touring days are over. Of course, I'm referring to Ozzy Osbourne. The Ozmeister, the Blizzard of Oz, the Prince of Darkness. No Amu City, not Bob Barker. You might remember that a couple of months, we talked about this about a month ago, where he said that he had to get off the road because of the fact that his doctors have told him that because of his spinal injuries and all the other things going on with him, that he just can't perform anymore. Well, according to People magazine, Ozzy might be changing his mind. It says here in a new interview with Billy Morrison on Ozzy's Boneyard show on Sirius XM that he says he wants to hit the road again in the future, noting that the public's reaction to his previous comments, quote, drove him nuts, end quote. Yeah, like it's going to take that, Oz. Come on, seriously. And this is where I get to do my Ozzy Osbourne impression, so bear with me here. If I ever get back to where I can go on the road again, fine. But right now, if you says to me, can I go on the road in a month? I couldn't say yes. I mean, if I could tour, I'd tour. But right now, I can't book tours because right now, I don't think I could pull them off. Don't hate it. It's a work in progress. He said he just can't start playing shows. Of course, you know, the day he feels better. Planning a tour takes time, and I can really relate to that. You know, if the doctor said to me today, and again, this is a quote from Ozzy in People. If the doctor said to me today, oh, you can tour, it would take another 6 months to get it together. The only thing that I've got that keeps me going is making records. But I can't do that forever. I got to get out there. I don't know, Oz. George Harrison did it for years. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. He says his singing voice is fine. However, after 3 operations, stem cell treatments, endless physical therapy, and groundbreaking cybernetics treatment, his body is still physically weak. This is the quote that he had from Instagram when he announced his retirement. But in the interview, he just said, you know, he said this effing press drives you nuts. I mean, I looked in the magazine, and they said Ozzy's on his last legs. He says, I'm not fucking dying. No, you're not, Ozzy. No, you're not. But for the love of God, just let it go, son. Just let it go. But this goes back, you know, this goes back to my argument earlier. I think we really have to start looking hard and fast over the fact that, you know, a lot of our heroes are gone. A lot of our heroes are gone. You know, checking the tote board here real quick. Why does he look like Patty Duke? I don't know. I don't know, Cyrus. That is not. No. No. Can you imagine seeing that next to Anne Bancroft? No. Not me, son. That ain't happening. Smiling for the devil's right-hand man. That's a scary picture. Yeah. I mean, he does really look like he is in an awfully good mood. You know, I mean, maybe retirement's agreeing with him. I don't know. You know, he gets to sit around and do a podcast now. How bad is that? Just hit him. It's like it's skipping 45. I know when he talks. But does that mean he's now unsigned? Yeah. No, Cyrus, I'm pretty sure he's still got that contract with Epic. Either Epic or Capitol. No, one of the two. No. Just because he's not touring doesn't mean he's not working. Okay? Glenda Farquhar pops in to say good evening. Glenda, how you doing? Always good to see you. She said it's about the Geritol. Yeah, it is. You're right. Geritol, little kaopectate. You know. And what's that fiber stuff that you take in the morning? Chris wants us to know who his candidates are for the Deadpool. He's saying Jimmy Carter, Tony Bennett, Janice Page, Bob Barker, Norman Lear, June Lockhart, Bob Newhart, Harry Belafonte, Don King, Mel Brooks, Bill Cosby, Dr. Ruth. Dude, not Dr. Ruth. Come on. Who else are we going to be able to giggle at when she talks about sex? And Woody Allen. Okay. Metamucil. That was it, Glenda. Thank you very much. That was it. So, yeah. Weird stuff going on. In fact, I tell you what I am going to do. This would be a good time to do this. We're going to replay something. Jerry Van Dyke. I think Jerry Van Dyke's been dead for years, dude. Now, Dick Van Dyke. He's what, 97? But then again, he works out like a son of a gun. And he just showed up on, The Masked Singer. So, who knows what he's up to. Gordon Lightfoot, Chris Christopherson, Brian Wilson. He's still in there hoping that Brian Wilson kicks it. Chris is saying James Earl Jones, but he'll become one with the Force. David Attenborough, Clint Eastwood, Garrett Morris. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Garrett's getting on in years. Noreen's like, no, not Harry. No. Got to jump in the line, Noreen. Rock your body in time. Okay, I believe you. Let me do this. I want to do this because we got a couple of requests for us to rerun this because people had heard about this, and at the same time, they're like, we need information about this. We need information about this. So let me run this right past you, and then Ozzy says he wants to go back on the road. He's not going to be able to. We've got a band that's ready to get back on the road. We'll talk all about it right after this. Stick around.
I'm Nick Mason of Pink Floyd, and March 2023 marks the 50th anniversary since the release of our album, The Dark Side of the Moon. Pink Floyd has had a history of collaborating with up-and-coming filmmakers since our early days. In many cases, the visuals that accompany the songs have become synonymous with the music itself. Which is why we would like to invite animators of all styles to enter a competition to create a music video for any song on the album. The band would like to give an opportunity to all, students or established animators, a chance to innovate and present a fresh visual interpretation to the music on the album. There are prizes for the best works, and there's a deadline for submission by the end of November 2023. The competition will be judged by a renowned panel from the worlds of film, animation and music, and we look forward to seeing your submissions and celebrating with us 50 years of Dark Side of the Moon. Good luck. And by the way, to enter your film, please read the terms and conditions carefully, or your submission will not be accepted.
So if you are a creator, you are a graphic artist, you are an animator, go to pinkfloyd.com/competition. And who knows? You might get yourself some fabulous prizes and get to work with the surviving members of the Floyd themselves, which in itself is not a bad thing. Speaking of which, I have to relate this. I almost got caught up in a parody story. Just today, as a matter of fact. You do research for this show, and you're looking for stories of interest. And there was something that came up on Facebook today that talked about a new recording that David Gilmour allegedly made. Turns out it was a parody story. Let me give you full disclosure right now before we go anyplace. This is not a real story. This is not an actual thing. This was a parody that somebody wrote, but I thought it was hilarious. Apparently, the feud between David Gilmour and Roger Waters is so great that that Roger decided that he was going to re-release Dark Side of the Moon and just cut out everything that David Gilmour did, the guitar lines, his singing, all that. And David responded. The story goes that David responded by re-recording The Great Gig in the Sky, but he brought in Yoko Ono to do the vocals just to mess with Roger. I thought this was great. I'm sitting here going, you got to be kidding me, until I started reading through and went, no, okay, And the story goes that she showed up at 3 o'clock in the morning, in pajamas, her hair in curlers, did it in one take. Here's where you pay me, and left. But it's not a bad idea, mind you. Re-record Great Gig in the Sky and have Yoko Ono do it. I think that's a great idea. And Cyrus even says it's a job for Benny Humma and the Ono bucket. You better believe it. Sounds like a plan to me. Does anybody have that bucket? Glenda's looking for one. Be that as it may, though, we've been talking about people that come and people that go throughout the first part of the show. And there is some good news. There is some good news on the horizon tonight, boys and girls. Robin Newman popping in to say hello. Hello, Robin. Always good to see you, my man. Thank you for popping in. We always do appreciate it. You came at a good time right about here, because you are about to share some really great news with the rest of the crowd that is right here. Which, by the way, if you are new and you are just checking out this show for the first time, please go to the chat. Please come in and say hi to us. We won't insult your intelligence, like we haven't done it already for the last half hour. Come on in, tell us where you're from. We would appreciate it. Yeah, this is true. Scott Parker popping in. Hey, Scott, good to see you, my man. Thank you for popping in to say hello. Always good to see you. And Cyrus reminding us that, yes, Spinal Tap 2 is in production. And yes, Carl Reiner is producing it and directing it, which I think is great. There's nothing wrong with that. I will go with that all day. But on to the task at hand here. On to the task at hand. There may be a lot of bad things happening in our world. There may be times where you think to yourself, my God, can things get any worse? But I have good news, fellow YouTuber. Oh, yes, I have good news. News that we have been waiting for the longest time. News that will make you say, yes, there is faith in the world still. I ask you, no, Cyrus, there are no $50 gift certificates. No, nobody said anything about a check. I just have one question to ask you. Are you ready for the reunion of Mr. Big?
I'm the one who wants to be with you.
Come on, sing it out.
Deep inside, I hope you feel it too.
All together now.
Waited on a line of waited on a line.
Oh, yes.
Just
Wait.
to be the next to be with you.
Yes, it's true. According to Pop Culture, Mr. Big has confirmed that they are moving forward with their 2023 reunion tour. They have been really promising folks since back in 2018. But according to Eric Martin, especially after the tragic death of original drummer Pat Torpey, this is according to Pop Culture, they are getting ready to hit the road. Yes, it's true. He said it's going to happen. There's no question about it. This was in an interview with the Metal Voice. He said it's going to happen in the middle of 2023. It is happening this summer. There's going to be multiple dates. Yes, guitarist Paul Gilbert and bassist Billy Sheehan will be joining him. They didn't reveal who was taking Pat Torpey's place behind the drums. And again, he passed away due to dementia in 2018 I beg your pardon, Parkinson's disease. But the band has reportedly chosen a new drummer, but Martin is keeping the identity a surprise. We have this new drummer, he said. I don't want to mention the guy's name until the press release comes out, but he really stepped up and everybody he knows him. And then the one really cool thing is that he was a big fan. He was a big fan of Pat Torpey. I think Pat, he'd approve of this new mystery man. For those wondering, in case you have already made up your minds, no, it is not Matt Starr, even though Matt Starr played drums with Mr. Big in 2017. But, yeah, their new drummer is apparently going to be someone else. But right now, there are no, there's no dates that are being mentioned. Hopefully there's going to be some firm dates and ticket sales soon. As you all know, Mr. Big's music is available to stream now on most major music services. But yeah, nobody's heard from Mr. Big since 2002. They did have a reunion in 2009. They released new material in 2011, but then Pat Torpey became ill. And the band seemed to lose a lot of its steam. Another tour was discussed for 2019, but actually never did materialize. So, yeah. Are you ready? Are you ready? This summer, the 80s are back. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Big is back.
Next to be with you. Why be alone when we can be together, baby? You can make my life worthwhile. I
There's good news tonight. Oh, pull out all the Aquanet that you can find because you're going to need it this summer. Also, well, wait, what's going on here? Cyrus wants to know, I almost forgot to ask you, we're starting a new tribute band for Milli Vanilli. We're looking for a lead singer. One in? Sure, I don't have to sing. Scott Parker's like, the hair band ballad craze led to grunge. Yeah, there was that weird little thing back around 88 to 91. You know, you had guys like Extreme and Mr. Big and White Lion. Yeah. Suddenly you just had all the, you know, these are supposed to be the heaviest bands going. And they come up, you know, Extreme come up with More Than Words. And White Lion did When the Children Cry. And Mr. Big did To Be With You, you know. And well, even for a while, you know, I mean, Guns N' Roses, Patience, you know. Enough's Enough. Yeah, Chip's Enough. Which I just saw they have a Greatest Hits album. I just found this out. I have to go get it. Motley Crue. See, Motley Crue. Motley Crue had a couple of them. The one I liked out of all those power ballads, the one I really always liked, and I'm going to catch flack for this, but Poison's Give Me Something to Believe In. Poison's Something to Believe In was such a great track. It was just it was well sung, it was well played, well produced. I just really, you know, out of all the 80s glam rock power ballads, that was one of my favorite. Skid Row, yeah. They did one. Let's see. Guns N' Roses was The Bridge. Yeah, no, because Nirvana and Pearl Jam and them, they'd been out for about a year or two by the time Guns N' Roses showed up. So yeah, I think that they were the buffer, but I don't know about them being the bridge. Jim Bass Knight. Yeah, but Jim Bass Knight, see, Jim Bass Knight was he's a different animal altogether. He really is. Jim will do pop. Jim will do ballads. Jim will do punk. Jim will do, you know, Lou Reed tributes. I mean, he's all over the road. Anything that's alternate, Jim will do. And I love him for it. I think I love the stuff that he's done on his own. I love the stuff that he's done with the Moberleys. He's just an amazing artist. And I have to give, okay, this ought to be interesting. I'm making this up as I go. Thanks, Scott. Okay. Sure. Next you're going to tell me Wham was the impetus for hip hop. Got it. I have no idea what that means, but it sounded cool. Amu City saying, I have to give some props to Extreme. If you have doubts, listen to Play With Me. Yeah. Or what was it? Hole in My Head or Head in My Hole or something like that. Whatever that track was called. The other one that it was a more upbeat version of More Than Words. Slave to the Grind. Yeah, Skid Row. Well, I've always had, you know, Sebastian Bach's just a great singer. He is. There, I said it. I put it out there. Sebastian Bach is a great rock singer. You know, what about the Tower of Power? Tommy Bowes. Dude, you want to talk about going apples to oranges? We're talking about Extreme and Poison and the London Choir Boys. You bringing out Tower of Power? Wow. How is the scenery back there in 1973, Cyrus? Man. We do have this in, and I'm really glad that my occasional guest co-host Chris King is here, because it gives me the opportunity to break this news to you. Chris, I I really hate to be the one to tell you this, and I know this is going to break your heart, but we found this out today, and well, I'm really sorry to tell you that it is official as of today. Lady Gaga will not be performing at the Oscars. I know, it's a drag. I'm sorry, buddy. I really am. I know. But our girl Steffi just ain't going to be able to make it. Okay? According to Variety, she's not going to be performing Hold My Hand at the Oscars. Oscar executive producer and showrunner Glenn Weiss, for those of you in the know, they confirmed that news today that Lady Gaga, I'm kidding, it's Lady Gaga, I know that. She landed her 4th career nomination for Best Song in a movie. She wrote and performed Hold My Hand for Top Gun Maverick, but she will not be performing she won't be performing the song on Sunday. This is according to the creative team press conference that was held on Wednesday afternoon. Weiss said, and this is a quote from Variety again, "We invited all 5 nominees. We have a great relationship with Lady Gaga and her camp. She's in the middle of shooting a movie right now. Here we are honoring the movie industry and what it takes to make a movie after a bunch of back and forth. It didn't feel like she can get a performance to the caliber that we're used to with her and that she's used to, so she's not going to perform on the show." Which is really a drag. I love watching Lady Gaga perform. I really do. I mean, she's one of my favorite female artists. But all of the other nominees, for whatever it's worth, for Best Original Song, they have been confirmed to be part of the ceremony on Sunday. All nominated songs are sung during the ceremony. Rihanna will sing Lift Me Up. Sophia Carlson and Diana Warren will sing Applause. Stephanie Zhu, David Byrne's son Lux will be performing This Is a Life, and Raul Siplinguj, Raul Siplinguj and Kala Barava will be performing Natu Natu, and they're all going to be making appearances on Sunday. Right now, our girl Stephanie is in the middle of filming Joker, Folie à Deux. Director Todd Phillips shared the first image of the star's Harley Quinn on Valentine's Day opposite Joaquin Phoenix, who's playing the Joker. She reportedly is playing her version of the character as a psychiatrist who finds herself smitten with the Joker before taking on his villainous ways. Pardon me. Warner Bros. Is saying they're going to release the film in theaters October 9th of next year, 5 years to the day of the release of the first film. So there you have it. Unfortunately, we're going to be missing Lady Gaga. Our dear Stephanie Giamatti will not be performing at the Oscars this year, which is really kind of a drag. Like I said, and I joke with Chris, but we're both big fans. We're both big fans of hers. Chris for different reasons. I remember sitting with him when we watched A Star Is Born. It was very uncomfortable. I'll just say that. Chris is saying, yeah, big deal. I'm stuck on Jill Scott right now, but I'm sure I'll be back. I can respect that. Checking the other tote board. They're looking for a replacement. Barney Rubble, what an actor. I know, and he's never been nominated for an Emmy. What is the state of our world today? I ask you. So Amy City is saying he's got to run. Have a good weekend. Thank you for watching us, sir. We certainly do appreciate it. You say I have a wayward imagination. Yes. Yes, you do. The Lady Gaga documentary a few years ago was pretty good. Which one, Scott? Because I know there's a couple of them. The one I saw, 5'2", was really good. It was really, really good. But there's another one that was done a couple of years before that. You can see it on YouTube. It was an independent production. The one that ended with her doing the Super Bowl. Yeah, that was 5'2". That was 5'2" when they actually show her suffering from the fibromyalgia. Great documentary. I gained a hell of a lot of respect for her as a person and as a performer watching that. Let me see. Noreen says, I still have my Little Monsters hat. There you go. There you go. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, to go back to the story for just a second, one thing that I wrote, actually Stephanie took to social media. She wrote, and again, this is according to Variety, she wrote on social media, quote, "Thank you so much to the Academy for nominating my song Hold My Hand for an Oscar this year. Writing this song for the film Top Gun Maverick was a deep and powerful experience that I'll never forget. So grateful for the magic of music and cinema." She signed off with, "I'm on set filming now. Big love to Little Monsters." So there you go, Noreen. If you're a little monster, you got big love from Lady Gaga. And there's nothing wrong with that. Scott says, I still have a meat suit. Okay, I need to know, do you just hang it in the closet or do you refrigerate it? Do you have to marinate it? I mean, do you have to like pour accent on it every week or so to keep it fresh? I need to know these things. I'm guessing B1 surrounded by a midlife. Okay, got that. Okay. It's in the smokehouse. Okay. It's up there with the whips and chains. Got it. All right, Scott. I see where you're going with that. I see where you're going, babe. Let's end on a good note. Something that yes, ask the wife if he's allowed to take it out of the freezer. Is there an expiration date on it, Scott? I need to know this. Is there a USDA, just so many questions. Is there a USDA approval sticker on there? Stay out of my smokehouse. Only if you invite me in, Scott. It's a meat jerky soup. Oh, wow. Dude, I'm on YouTube, but I'm trying real hard not to get demonetized, okay? I got into this argument with somebody a couple of weeks ago, and this came out yesterday in Rolling Stone, and I'm kind of happy to talk about it because it took 35 years, and it took the CD revolution, but here we go. For the first time, and people ask why I do vinyl reviews on my Facebook page. This is why. For the first time since 1987, according to Rolling Stone, vinyl sold more units than CDs in the U.S. last year. The figure solidified vinyl's dominance over an otherwise increasingly irrelevant physical music landscape. Apparently, everybody going for either the streaming, but now they're also going for the vinyl. Pardon me. The feat is among the most noteworthy stats from the Recording Industry Association of America, the RIAA. Their 2022 year-end report that was released yesterday. Consumers bought 41 million vinyl albums last year as compared to 33 million CDs. For decades, the thought was that an ancient format like vinyl could outsell CDs was absurd, according to Rolling Stone. But as vinyl boom started in the late aughts, it says here, yes, Rolling Stone used the word aughts, the late 2000s. Come on, guys. You're not impressing anybody. Thanks to numerous factors like retro appeal and larger, more collectible album art, it eventually became more of an inevitability. It says here, while vinyl has surpassed CDs in units, vinyl revenue itself has also beaten out CDs since the RIAA's 2020 report. As per the most recent report, $1.2 billion in revenue. Vinyl makes up 70% of all physical music sales. Vinyl revenue rose 17% last year. CD revenue, which saw an out-of-character rise in 2021 after the pandemic, limited sales, it once again fell last year by nearly 18%. So, yeah. Mitch Glazier, who is the RIAA chairman and CEO, said in a statement, quote, 2022 was an impressive year for sustained growth over growth more than of a decade after streaming's explosion onto the music scene. Continuing that long run, subscription streaming revenues now make up 2/3 of the market, with a robust record high $13.3 billion, of which the musician is still not seeing any of it. This long and ongoing arc of success has only been possible thanks to the determined and creative work of record companies fighting to build a healthy streaming economy where artists and rights holders get paid wherever and whenever their work is used. But I'm here to tell you, as I'm sure there's other people that are in the chat right now will tell you, yeah, you may get paid, but 0.00006 of a cent is not getting paid for a play. Don't even get me started on that. Mike Stem popped in. Hey, Mike, how are you? Always good to see you, my man. Thank you for popping in this evening. Let's just see here. Man, everybody popping in this evening. Scott saying, I thought I was going to get music done tonight. Well, hey. Thanks for fast sacrificing your music for this slop fest stuff, Scott. I'll bet you that was a wise decision, wasn't it? You can't afford the CD player. Needles are just $3.49 each. Oh, wow. Yeah, those fan stall needles. Gotta love them. I have just about 3,000 LPs that are about to go away. I can't lift them anymore. I got a trunk load of them, dude. Hold on to them. I'll take the rest of them. Mike said, better late than never. You can't talk about revenue as it now costs 5 times the amount of money to make a record compared to the 90s. This is true. Jack White apparently has a modern vinyl wrecking. Let me do that again. Scott Parker is saying, I read that Jack White has a modern vinyl record pressing company that is killing it, Third Man Records. That is true. That is true. Third Man Records right now, if you get signed with them, good God almighty, Jack will treat you right. Jack treats you good. And from what I understand, he pays his people very well, too. That $50 gift certificate will do that. No, there is no $50 gift certificate. Doggone it, Cyrus. Just stop it. I feel so proud at this moment. What, did you give up your music for this? Come on, what? Third Man Records is in Detroit. Chicago Boy 61, thank you for popping in, buddy. Always do appreciate it. Third Man Records is in Detroit. It's an impressive facility. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I've seen videos of it, and it's supposed to be, trust me, it's beautiful. The 9-month production wait list on getting it pressed. Yeah, but that's only because everybody is jumping to get into Third Man Records because he is doing it right. Jack White is actually doing that right. Tell you what, it's time for us to get on out of here. Please do not forget to pop in to say hi to Hugs Radio, Cyrus Gray, doing the top 10 countdown right after this, 9 o'clock Eastern. Hugs at WRGG, HUGSWRGG.com, HUGSATWRGG.com. Go click the listen button. The Hugs Top 10 Countdown is coming up next. You got that thing to do, so go do that. We're going to get out of here. In the meantime, thank you so much to everybody for joining me. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Please come on back next week. We can't do this without you. As you can tell, this is kind of like your show. That was fun. Later, dude. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Tim Gainer. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. If you like this, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. In other words, if you like it, hey, you know what to do. We'll see you next week. We out. Bye.